on Bringing Up the Veil with Lexi. I'm Lexi and I'm so happy you're here to join me. So today I am going to be my intention. I like to set intentions for everything. So I think it's important to set intentions for my videos. Most of it, the intention is just to share my experience for you, just so you don't think you're going crazy, because I've already been there, I've done it, and it was some of these things that came up with the spiritual awakening. They were scary, but I had to learn the hard way, and I had help from mentors and from other YouTube sources and articles upon articles. I did so much research, so I want to share what I've learned and what helped me through some of these stages of the ascension process to you guys and some of the stuff I went through. So, okay, I first want to explain my way of thinking, how I see the world, because in order to listen to my channel and understand the way I speak, you kind of have to know where I come from a little bit. And a big part of that, like everyone else, was how were we raised? And with me, when it comes to spirituality, I think more or less of two very important people that were in my life early on, and their names were Sophie and Barbara. They were my imaginary friends. My family called them the guardian angels, my guardian angels. These were two little old ladies. I remember they were old ladies, and I could see them, I could hear them, I could see them, I could interact with them, and I was a very, very, very sick child. I can't say I remember when they came. I just remember them always being there, and I knew that other people couldn't see them. I knew that only I could physically see them. I knew everyone else could not. I was very aware of that. These little old ladies, they would give me advice, they would play with me, they would take me on journeys. It's almost like we would go like astral projecting, because I had this beautiful room where my sisters drew all this gorgeous stuff, and I remember there was a tree. They made a tree, I think it was the tree from The Lion King, or Jungle Book, and with the snake coming down. And I would sit under the tree and we would have like a tea party, and then I remember like climbing the tree and like swinging in the branches like these. It's almost like I would like multi-dimensional time hop with these people, and it was really, really sweet. And they would always give me the best advice. And around, I don't know, it's sometime between 7 years old and 10 years old. I'm assuming closer to 10. It wasn't cool to talk to imaginary friends. I remember telling my angels, like, hey, it's not cool to talk to you. I'll only talk to you after school. And then after school turned in, I'll only talk to you before bed. So the time frame that I was actually connecting with these angels was lessening, because I was building a social, I'm in the 3D paradigm. I'm building a social program that was what was allowed and what was accepted, and that does push away imaginary friends. And that was completely normal, I was told by my little angels. And they said, hey, you know what, we're talking less and less. It's very important. It got to the point that I didn't even see them anymore. I could only hear them. And they're like, it's very important you take what we say seriously, what we're about to tell you. You're going to stop talking to us for a while. That does not mean that we're going to not be with you. We'll always be with you. And I love Heart and Soul with Robert Downey Jr. in it. It's a 1990s movie where he had his guardian angels, and I think they left him. And it was a horrible scene. He's like a baby crying in the bed because his imaginary friends left him. But they are always with him. They're just not visible to him anymore. They're not interfering with his life. They're letting us make our own decisions and go our own ways. So, and that's what's supposed to happen in this experience. Okay, so our farewell party message was, the world as you see it, every single person, every single situation, no one is good or bad. There is no good or bad or right or wrong way to do it. If the worst person in the whole entire world, the murderer of murderers of murders, the most vile person that you've ever met or have seen on TV being prosecuted, they are supposed to be here. They're supposed to be doing what they're doing. They are living life the same way you are, and they're doing just fine, and it's not your place to judge them. And they'll be good and they'll be bad. And they showed me in a vision, because I couldn't see them anymore, so they like downloaded a vision to me where it was a green leaf on a tree, and they explained perception. The green leaf on the tree to the tree means its power source is up and running. It is receiving the sunlight, it is turning that sunlight into energy and food and giving it to the plant, and the plant now has the energy to get bigger. That is what a leaf means to a plant. However, a green leaf to a schoolboy means that spring is finally here, and school or summer break is coming up, and school's ending, and that is so awesome. That green leaf means spring is here. Well, that's his perception of the leaf. To a worm, the leaf means food. To a bird, that green leaf may mean protection or a nest or shielding. See, it's just a green leaf. But to every single observer, that green leaf means something completely different. So that is perception. And that's just leaf. What would we do with, every single instance in our lives? How many scenarios and perceptions are being misstrued or not seen the same way that you are seeing the situation? How many situations are you only getting a very small visual of, and you're making a decision or a judgment from that tiny little perception that you were only able to see? And then later on in schooling, I think it was even that same year in 5th grade, a teacher brought in a globe, and it was like a bowling ball size ball, and she put it in the middle of a table, and the ball was covered with a material fabric, and she had someone sit here and someone sit across the table, and the whole class gathered around these two people, and the whole class was not allowed to say anything. She like took everyone out, and she's like, you're not allowed to say anything. And she had all the students around these two students in the middle, and she goes, okay, I want you guys, she lifted up the blanket or the material from the ball so you could see the ball, and she goes, Jimmy, what do you see? And he goes, I see a black ball. And the little girl on this side goes, no, that's a white ball. And the little boy's like, no, it's a black ball, obviously. And they're like, the ball's right in the middle of them, like on a pedestal thing that the teacher, and we're all giggling all in the classroom, because what we see is, and the teacher had us go in a circle very, very slowly, just like, so what we saw was, I'm gonna name her Jill. Jill was looking at one half of the ball, and her half of the ball was painted white. When you went around the circle, Jim's half of the ball was painted black. And these two didn't know anything different. And they were children, so they didn't think of the ball being split in two. They started getting into a fight. They're like, no, how do you think? And the teacher, we're all giggling. I'm like, what? So the teacher moves the ball, and she goes, see, it's halfway painted. You've only seen half the picture, so you can't get into a fight with someone because their half of the picture is different than your half, and you cannot expect them to think that your side of the ball would be different. And we were all like ashamed, like, oh, okay, haha. And that was exactly what my angel's farewell message was, where everything is binary. And don't fall into a scenario where you only agree with one group, because there's 7 billion people on the earth. Not everyone is going to fit into 2 categories. That's just the way it is. So that was their parting message. Don't judge anyone. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. We have to experience both in order to realize how important that scenario is. To realize that 3D life seems, our vision, we think that the end of time or the end of our vessel's life is the end of it all, and it's just our perception of it. So that is what my guardian angels explained to me. I'm trying to think, that was pretty much the closeout of my early childhood development, but yeah, that's all I can think of, and how it transpired. I thought it's really interesting to see the similarities between the spiritual awakening now and how easy it was to communicate and to see my guardian angels as a child. That it just shows that when you don't have programming, when you're not told that this or that is taboo, or that going to college and having kids is the right way of doing stuff, when you realize and break down all this programming, you can see so much more of the picture if you move yourself and experience things. And that's how I lived my life, even though I lost the spiritual connection and became a mean, moody teenager, which led to a bratty early 20s adult. That everything you know everything, pretty much. No one can tell you wrong. I did live life to I lived a really fun life. And a couple of years ago, my mom told me, well, Alexia, you've had a hard life. And I was like, what? And her perception of just hearing your daughter's, boyfriends. I had an abusive relationship, and then I could never stay with a job for more than 2 years it wasn't because I was bad at working. I just didn't care. I just had these experiences, which I don't look back and see as bad. I think I know what I learned from each and every experience, and it was fun, and I don't regret any of it. It's just different than maybe my mom's life, who, got married early and had kids early, and her whole 20s and 30s went to raising her children. So obviously 2 different point of views on the same experience of just living. And it makes things a lot easier if you step back and look at the whole picture. Join me, stay with me. My next video is going to be, what is my next video? Oh, explaining my event, my event dream. It was a prophetic dream I had about 3 years ago. It started my whole spiritual awakening process. Super good watch. Go check that out. And thank you so much for joining me. Again, below, please comment any imaginary friends you had or that your children have had, and if you experienced it. I would love to hear it. Have a good one, you guys. Bye.